What's going on, you guys? It's your boy Abel, and in today's video, this is going to be a recap of this morning's trade session. It was a very interesting trade session. We did have to try to navigate around the fact that Jerome Powell was going to be speaking this morning, but we ended up taking a position here on gold, took some shorts after a nice sweep of liquidity, followed by an engulfing supported by volume back within our range, and we took it. We ended up risking around 1.5% on this bad boy, but something interesting happened that I feel like, even though the trade played out how it played out, we actually learned and we grow from, family. So again, enjoy this recap of this video. Hopefully you guys go ahead and gain some value from this, and I look forward to seeing you guys on tomorrow's live stream. We're back to do the same thing once again. All right, family, enjoy this recap. What's going on, family? Then we do have news in about 2 minutes. We got PPI coming out in a couple minutes. We're gonna let this come out, and then we'll be able to really dissect whether there's an opportunity to play off of this stuff. But it's gonna be interesting. As of right now, PPI, headline PPI is expected to increase by 0.1%. Core PPI month over month expected to stay the same at 0.2%. In terms of how I'm going to be approaching this, family, again, we are literally about a minute out or so. Let's see, a couple minutes. Yeah, we're about a minute and a half out or so. But how I'm going to approach this is very simple. You know, if we come out higher than expected, right? If inflation is increasing, right? If inflation goes higher, if we come out higher than expected, higher than this 0.2% month over month, right? I would assume that to be bullish the dollar, right? Because inflation increasing, even if it's from a producer standpoint, right? The cost of goods and services now for these businesses is increasing. They're going to pass that cost off to somebody, right? More times than not, it's going to be on the consumer, which is going to probably increase the prices for consumers as well. If we come out higher than expected, bullish dollar. If we come out lower than expected, then I think the dollar might be weak for today. So we're about 30 seconds out. Let's see what we get here, family. Seeing initial weakness here on gold. Dollar must be pumping here. Let's see what we got here. We came out higher than expected. Okay, and the previous numbers were actually revised to the negative. That's interesting. So we seen inflation increase, guys, right? Again, this is going to be very bullish the dollar here, right? But let's see how the market really just continues to play out off of this stuff here. Let's see what we get. Let's see if the market is going to continue with this strength maybe in the dollar, or are we going to seek more liquidity before we see that move occur? Because we've seen the initial reaction off of the release, and yes, price could just very well push off of that, but look at the reaction that we're seeing. Seen a spike up here in the dollar, and we essentially came all the way back down. Right now, if this does drop for whatever reason, I would be literally expecting this to drop simply just to probably seek some liquidity to then go ahead and push us higher. We have to take into account, guys, all the news that we've dealt with for the past month or so. You know, we've had a very dovish Jerome Powell, 2 weeks ago, right? We had a weakness in the labor market, right? Weakness in the labor market is good when we're fighting inflation. Now today had a news event that kind of went against those events, right? Dovish Jerome Powell, a weaker labor market, that is good news for fighting inflation. But a PPI that has increased, that is not good for fighting inflation. We have to really understand the correlation between these news events, how it's going to impact inflation, and how that's going to impact the decision making for the Fed when it comes to interest rate. The news came out inflationary, which would normally be bullish the dollar. Now, in terms of us as day traders, we have to identify, okay, is the market just going to run off of this? Or do we need to find more liquidity first before we go ahead and give us that initial reaction that we can expect, right? Again, only time will tell. It's up to us just to be patient now and see what the market ultimately does. But we'll see. Let's let this stuff play out. You know, I'm not going to be in a rush to try to jump in. We're not going to be in a rush to try to take positions. We're just let the market play out, let the market do what it does. And if we can get an opportunity to get involved, then we'll see it. And if I'm just wrong, guys, with dollar strength possibly coming in, then we'll have to just adjust, right? We'll have to adjust and just see what the market gives us. And we've seen the initial reaction that I expected. As of right now, it's just not holding up. Right now, there is something else that we can even consider, right? Maybe us spiking above this high right here, maybe we actually did see enough of a sweep of liquidity, right? Though we came out inflationary for this reading, the market just really doesn't care because of how deflationary all the other reports we've had come out, right? Again, I think the thing that really could hold the most weight here was Jerome Powell's tone in the press conference 2 weeks ago. He was extremely dovish. Right, and then we had NFP come out. Then we had the unemployment rate come out, right? Which all of that was also very deflationary. So are those reports and is Jerome Powell's tone going to supersede this PPI report? Possibly, right? It is possible, right? That is a possibility that we have to really keep on the table as well. But seeing the reaction that we had so far, where we had the initial spike, which again should have been expected, and now seeing no real follow through on that, that is telling, right? Being able to read this price action is telling, right? So we got to see how this continues to hold. We got to let this stuff play play out, right? We got the news, we got the data. This is inflationary data, which typically favors dollar strength, but it's going against all the most recent data that we had over the past 2 weeks, which have been deflationary, which favors dollar weakness. So we're kind of at a very interesting point right now. So, but now, as we let this stuff play out, guys, go ahead and smash the like button for your boy one time. I do appreciate y'all so much. Thank you guys for tuning in. All you guys that have been constantly showing me love, that have constantly showed up to the stream, it definitely means a lot to me that you guys do so. So I just want to give you guys a round of applause real quick. Y'all deserve it, man. All y'all that been showing up, man. The 1003 gang in the building, I appreciate y'all. The Wealthy Visions family, I appreciate y'all. And I want to give y'all flowers, man, for showing up, man. Because this is the hard part of trading, right? Just showing up every single day, no matter what happened the previous day. It don't matter if you had a win yesterday. It don't matter if you had a loss yesterday. It don't matter if you got hit at break even like I did. Just showing up every single day, family, is going to be the most important thing that you do now, because you have to gain this experience. Whether you're trading or not, whether you're actively going to be placing a trade or not is irrelevant, right? You got to show up, right? You got to show up. You got to put in them hours, man. The more hours you put in watching the charts, listen to somebody actually break this stuff down, the better you will eventually become. So again, big shout out to my 1003 gang. Shout out to my Wealthy Visions family, man. I love y'all for showing up, and thank you guys for so much. But I really want this to be not even more so a mentor-mentee relationship, which is cool, right? I know some of you guys look at me as a mentor, which is phenomenal, and I'm grateful for that. But I want us to really be a community where it's get better together. Don't just take my word and everything that I say and be like, oh man, that has to be what it is. Like, no, what is your opinion, right? What are you looking at? What is your thought? You have a different perspective than me? Cool. I want to see it. I want to hear it. Because again, iron sharpens iron at the end of the day, family. But yeah, so let's let this stuff play out, family. If, again, this is an if, but if we do start to see this thing slow down up at these highs, right? Because now we are starting to test a level of structure right here. If we take out these highs right here, and depending on how we play above these highs, we might be able to really go ahead and find some, right? If we break these highs, which we're really testing right now, but if we were to break these highs and then form a live OB up here, right, supported by volume, I wouldn't be opposed to trying to fade this. But we're gonna be patient with this. We're gonna see what the market gives us, but that's just like my initial thoughts as of right now. All right, but looking at this now, guys, again, we are looking at gold. Again, I would love for us to sell off because the news came out inflationary. The fact that I think we have a lot of liquidity resting below 2337, I would love that. We just spiked above here. We grabbed liquidity above these highs. We're now flipping back bearish. This closes like this in 2 minutes, and then we have volume that supports the move, which means this red volume bar is bigger than the white one, which it currently is. That is typically an entry point for me all day long, right? Because now my fundamentals bias, which I believe gold should be weak based off the fundamentals, is now being supported by my technical approach, right? Again, family, I'm not like most traders here that you'll find on this platform. I rely heavy on my fundamental data and what I believe sentiment can be for the markets, right? And then I just try to align my technicals with that. That's just my approach. That's how I like to look at things personally. So yeah, as long as this stays the way it is, man, we have now the volume bar supporting. Volume is clearly increasing here from the bearish side, at least opposed to compared to the last, bullish candlestick. Yeah, man, if this can hold like this, I wouldn't be opposed to taking a short to going ahead and riding us all the way back down. Stops will just be above the highs, because again, if this was an actual liquidity grab that can now justify or fuel this move, then we shouldn't come back up and really test these highs. Right? That's just a theory. We did close. The 5 minute did support with volume. Now we're getting this little pushback, which we always typically do, right? But I want to see us now flip back bearish and then start to push lower. Honestly, the safer thing might be just to close back below the 50 period moving average, but we're gonna be patient. We're gonna let this play out. Let the push lower. Start to show me signs of weakness. Show me that you're about to start dropping. Yeah, I'm gonna take a little bit of risk here, family. I'm gonna take a little bit of risk here. Again, we're risking maybe like about 1.5% on this trade. Comfortable with the way it's been playing out, and now we just gotta let it play out. It's either we're gonna win or lose on this. We really need a strong close below this level for us to truly be confident about this. I mean, I'm confident, but like a strong close below here would really do us good, right? Because we are literally resting on top of a support as it is. A strong close below here would be phenomenal for us, right? Like we really would be great if we can continue to drop here. Best case scenario for us, obviously, is that we go and profit enough to where, we can move our stops and secure some partials before Jerome Powell go live. That would be best case scenario. That's the thing about trading, guys, right? We can't be afraid to take the risk when the setup is there, because no matter how good the setup looks, you can have the best looking setup in the world and still take a loss, right? But it's those moments that you miss that you hesitate on because you're scared of a loss that actually end up playing out. No, every time your setup is there, every time you have your confirmations in place, you gotta just take the trade. Trading is all about probabilities at the end of the day. We're not gonna win 100% of these trades. We can have literally 100 trades. Every single trade that we take, all literally are A+ setups, and we still won't win 100% of them. That's just the reality of trading, right? Trading is truly a game of probability, right? But if you are avoiding the good setups because you're now fearful of taking a loss, then you're going to also miss out on the good trades and the good wins. And that's where we start to mess up, right? You got to take the trade, you got to be okay with the outcome of the trade, and you got to come back tomorrow taking that same exact setup that you just lost on. When you're comfortable enough to do that, family, where you take a position, you lose on that same setup, but then the next day you take the same exact setup because you know the probabilities are there, that's when you really start to grow as a trader. That's when you get better as a trader. That's when you improve. That's why for me, I don't care about what happens here, right? I'll still take the same exact setup every day of the week, no matter what the outcome of this position is, whether we win or lose. We have to be able to balance, guys. We can't be too high and we can't get too low. We can't get too excited and we can't get too upset. Trading, it is what it is. These markets don't give two shits about us. And the one thing I think we have to understand the most is that there's so many different factors that influence the decision making of these markets. Like, there's things that are happening in the background, right, with the big dogs, the big players, that we just don't have no control over. This market is extremely volatile because there's so many different factors that impact the price of it. Whether it's Jerome Powell opening his mouth, whether it's political tensions happening with wars and things like that, whether it's interest rates increasing or decreasing, whether it's CPI, PPI, right, whether it's NFP, whether it's all these different news events that we all know, there's so many different factors that are constantly pressuring these prices. So yeah, we can have a great looking setup and still take a L. It happens. That's what happens when we're day traders. We have to be okay with the outcome. Family, we are about 25 minutes out from Mr. Jerome Powell, by the way. We are 25 minutes out from Jerome Powell opening his mouth. Again, hopefully we can continue to drop more. I would love for us to really get back towards this 2348. Below 2348, I think that at that point, especially depending on how close we are to Jerome Powell, we might as well protect our trade. And then hopefully Jerome Powell just doesn't screw us. Get a strong close back above here. This is not what I want to see, to be honest with y'all. I definitely don't want to see this right here. All right, we did get a nice strong engulfing right back on up to the upside above the range, supported by volume. That's not too convincing, to be honest with y'all. That is definitely not what I wanted to see, but it is what it is, man. We already took our trade, we took our risk, because this right here looks bullish as hell. I'm not even gonna lie. This play, that engulfing back to the upside, supported by volume, in already a market that has been doing something like that, yeah, that doesn't look the best. I'm not even gonna lie to y'all. Unless the market want to go ahead and completely erase this engulfing, then we'll be lit. But this does not. This does definitely a little concerning in terms of our trade. Yeah, I might have to manage this position. I might get out of this, family, and then let Jerome Powell do his thing. If we do flip back bullish on this current candle, I'll be getting out. I want to see how this plays out. Yeah, because I definitely didn't want to see this. Like, now this looks good for a freaking buy situation, to be honest with y'all. I'm gonna let this last couple minutes play out. Let's see. Once I see this, yeah, I'm out. I'm just gonna close out for a very short loss. I'm getting out equals capital preservation. Absolutely, bro. It really does. Capital preservation. But you guys see what we did here, right? That's actually a lesson real quick. The sell itself looked money. We did end up dropping from our initial entry. We ended up dropping around literally nothing, around 5-10 points. Look at how we played price action. We had a solid close back below, but the moment this candle came back up and engulfed the candle that gave us a confirmation for this to continue, and it was supported by increasing bullish volume, oh yeah, that's telling us, man, this might actually go higher. You know, so even though we got out and took a very small loss, that was perfect trade management, if you ask me. He managed that trade, I think, very, very well, in my opinion, because now we're again avoiding all this unnecessary drawdown, and at this point we probably would have gotten stopped out. I don't think there's no reason why we don't fill this wick at this point. That is actually not a bad play here.